And welcome to this episode of the Akashic Love Field. I'm Jen Duchene, your host. Today I want to talk about this passage that we're entering in these times. Today is May 12th, so it's actually the full moon in Scorpio, very powerful energy, of course. Uh, And it's more relevant because of what we're experiencing, regardless of whether you're into astrology or where the moon is and all those things. We're falling into it. We're falling into the passageway of this experience, of this time. And the most powerful thing about it is the thing we have, or many of us have tried to elude out of fear. Our fear of being outspoken, our fear of experiencing, expressing the power that resides within us, the access we have to what lies beyond what we consider the ordinary, the mundane, the known, the expected. And yes, many of us have behaved the way we have been expected to behave, or we have defied and rebelled and been punished, ostracized, pushed out. Many of us have visceral memories of being killed or have relations, families, people we know, history that is our history, our ancestral history that has been um, hurt, killed, tortured for speaking truth. And even now, today, around us, we can see there are so many people who are desperate to maintain the old system, desperate for us to hang on to this old way where we have established presences, what we call leaders, who decide. And really, our fate has hung on their mood swings. Somebody gets into power, somebody has, an enormous responsibility of some business or country, and uh, all these decisions often rest on the whim of one or the whim of a few. And when you're that influential, you can pay people to sway the world, right? So if you have enough money, enough clout, you can influence, you can propagandize, you can persuade people to look the other way. And quite honestly, it's very easy for us to be numb to what is happening around us because of what we remember, right? Our experiences, our family experiences, our training. It doesn't take long, to get people to behave from a place of fear because our physical bodies are vulnerable, our minds are often vulnerable because of the way we've been influenced and controlled and conditioned. So we have a lot of fear around showing up, a lot of fear around showing who we are. We fear to be vulnerable. We fear to show our power. That's one of the things that often is true for men and women in different ways. So for women, they are often told to stand down or hold back or move away. Men, they don't know how to express their power but except through their fists and their anger and all of that. So it's a lot of manipulation going on both sides. And now here we have it, this passage. This passage, it's like a river running through it. It's a wild, surging river that just runs through land that has been barren in places we don't expect it. And when the river runs, it soaks into the land and it changes things. It brings up things. And that's really what's happening to all of us. We're experiencing a churning within us, a breaking down through the water, seeping into our beings, into our bones, into all the places we have been dry and resistant. And now, as the banks, as the ground gets so wet, and we feel this rush, we cannot stop the feeling of the flow that wants to come through us. And truly, it's a magnificent thing. Even though it may feel scary, it is also the moment we have been waiting for, the moment when we can begin to feel this is me, this is who I am, outside or beyond the container I've held myself in. And it really is an extraordinary experience to feel this rush of life inside of us, this desire to be something else, someone else, to know something else. So for me personally, I think it's all of us have things that we have held very close to us. And I'm not talking about something that we're nurturing, that we want to bring into the world at some point. I'm talking about the whole thing, right? The package of being. I used to be so careful about the words I used, the things I said, because I was scared to offend people. I was scared to say the wrong thing because I remember even when I was a child, so even growing up as an adult, I had incidences where people would strike out at me, tell me how stupid I was, or how noisy or annoying, or all of those things, like, oh, you think you know everything, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. And sadly, I listened to them. I believe that those people knew more than me, that they knew better than me about my expression. But now, as I have traveled through this time, as I have gone through my own experiences, I have come to realize, and also through my dialogue with the Akashic Records, I've come to realize that there's so much inside of me that needs to be released. All of that trapped inside of me that had been damaged or held inside through damage or assumed damage from this idea of what I believe people were saying about me. At that time, I believed they were saying, I'm no good, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, I'm too much, I'm too little, you know, I'm an outsider, etc. And I believed all of those things. And I adjusted my behavior to fit in. I wanted to belong. I wanted to be valuable to the world. And people tell me my actions or my words weren't valuable. That made me want to uh, limit what I said so that it came out sounding appropriate, that it would be considered of value, uh, that eventually, when I reconnected with the Akashic Records and I began to explore what I had shut down in me, uh, I uncovered more and more things. And as I'm going through this journey, as we are all experiencing this journey, I'm uncovering even more about the things. And you know what's so interesting about this is that many of the things that I say and that I feel are true are not that, what's the word? They're not that so crazy. It's not that I'm saying anything that's so crazy that people are going to go, oh my God, she's from another planet. They're actually quite ordinary. And yes, maybe some of them are things other people don't agree with. Maybe they are things other people have never heard of. People will often say this to me, even especially when I'm having sessions with people. They'll say, I've never thought about it like that. So I bring a perspective that others don't necessarily have. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's an opportunity, it's an opening. If people come to me, they come to me because they are called to work with me because of the nature of my work, that I am somebody who brings truth into the world. And when I say truth, I mean, I bring in that part of someone's life, someone's experience, even my own, that has not been considered before. So I say this because I want you to understand that what I'm saying is not so out there. It's not so outrageous. And yet, inside of me, I've held back so much because I thought, wow, this feels so daring and so outrageous. And I often would think of myself as a coward because I was afraid to say the things, to just be myself. And I had to come to the awareness that I saw myself as a coward. And I laugh about it because, we have this really cruel way of looking at ourselves, which has been conditioned into us, right? We're cruel to ourselves because that's what we've been taught. Others have shown us how to treat ourselves, to be cruel and shut ourselves down. And then, of course, when we do that, we bring that cruelty and that shutdownness to the world around us. We are passive or aggressive or passive aggressive, and we do all these things because it's like, oh, I can't hold it in anymore. I'm so upset, and it bursts out. And there are all these games we play, controlling each other instead of just saying how we feel because we're afraid that we'll look foolish or sound foolish, or maybe the person will reject us. And even what I was talking about the last episode, I think that was episode 6. So this must be episode 7. How appropriate. 7 is the number that allows us to go deep into the wisdom inside of us. And that's really what we're doing. We're going to the wisdom and the passion and the uh, awareness, right? The depth of ourselves to draw out our power, our truth, our desires, bring it out in the open so everyone knows who we are. And the most important person who has to know who we are is ourselves. We have to know who we are enough to do it. I found myself sometimes feeling afraid, like looking at myself, oh, you're a coward, you're this, you're that, and realizing like, wow, I'm not a coward. I'm just haven't had the practice in order to say the things I want to say. And more over the last 15 years, I have been saying things that I wouldn't, but actually, my whole life, I've said things, even times when I was told to shut up. I just couldn't help but speak out. And there is something really powerful about putting your essence, your voice, uh, over your presumed safety. Keeping quiet doesn't keep us safe. It's an illusion that we have been fed by many because we keep quiet or we listen to the collective. I was just saying, I wanted to go back to what I spoke about last week, the incident on Substack where somebody famous felt rejected by the voices and decided like, I'm not wanted, I'm going to leave. And I was saying how we can't just leave just because other people tell us. And it's so important to make that step. Like, I'm not telling other people what to do. Obviously, I don't have any control over other people. They'll do whatever they want. But when I'm talking to others, I'm talking to myself, really, and to those who feel like I do, that this is not the time to leave. Unless you're in a dangerous situation, right? You leave when you're in a dangerous situation if you can. Um, but just life in general, it's not the time to leave life in general and go, oh, that'll be someone else will have to do it. Uh, Many people have this story. in the spiritual world and in the real world, whatever, spiritual and real, it's all the same to me. Everything is spiritual because spirituality is a lifestyle. It's a way of living through our own growth, through our own awareness, through our own awakening. And that's how I look at it. And that's what I have been taught through the Akashic records and the Akashic Love Field. And this process of knowing oneself, well, I can know myself in my room on my own, but if I don't step out and speak to others, then I don't really know myself because I'm doing it in a place where no one can hear me, so I'm not risking anything. If I'm just whispering into my pillow, and yes, it has value to do that, but we do need to take the next step. Now I'm aware that I said something and I was going to say more about it, and then I got off on that tangent about spiritual. It's all spiritual. Oh, yes, the story. There's a story in the kind of spiritual growth. I call it spiritual growth. We all have different words to say the same thing, and where a person is kind of going, like we all do. Why doesn't somebody do something about this situation? And then we are advised or become aware through our spiritual connection that if we feel like somebody should do something, then, it's like the thing with when you point your fingers, you point a finger, there's many fingers pointing back at you. And so we become the ones who have to do something. Like if we notice something, we can't go around telling somebody else to do it. We have to do it. One of the greatest weaknesses in most of the leadership we look to them to do something. Hey, why don't you do something? Why don't you organize this? Can't you see this mess? And most of those so-called leaders never do those things because their focus is elsewhere. They're doing what they feel or what is catching their attention. And how do we catch their attention? Or how do we do the thing we need to do? The most powerful things happen when we stop waiting for someone else to do it and we just begin. And sadly, most of us begin through pain, through tragedy. But here we have this opportunity. Not that there isn't a lot of pain in the world, there is. But when we can move away from worrying about what everyone else is doing and how everyone else is suffering and thinking, oh, I must save them, to the actual focus of if I believe that as a group, as humanity, we have the capacity to evolve, to know more, to become more uh, uh, intelligent in how we operate together as a group, how we can bring ourselves in tune to nature and to the differences among us so that we're not living angry and at odds with one another, but we're actually living connected to one another. And this is what it is, right? It's like, okay, I can't make other people do what I want to be done. So I need to get there, start this, little project and speak to people or do the things. So I start my podcast. I force myself to do the things that I need to express myself more, to get out there more, to put the influence on some people. I saw there's a woman who started this thing where she collects all the stuffed animals and it goes to like a stuffed animal hospital and they refurbish them and then they sell them again, right? So it's like she was bothered by the fact that there were so many stuffed animals in the world that it's never disappearing, right? Once it's in our field, once it's being created, it doesn't uncreate because a kid doesn't want it or an ear falls off. It's still there. it's cluttering up our world. And then more and more stuffed animals are created, new ones. And it sounds kind of silly on one hand, but on the other hand, it's absolutely brilliant. Yes, this is the core of this river of change I'm talking about, is that we move from this idea that we have suffered, which is true, but we've suffered in the sense of being helpless, like, oh, there's nothing I can do, to this place. Okay, I did suffer. It's okay. I was conditioned to shut up, to not speak, to not really express myself. But now there's this big river rushing through the world. And this big river is allowing me to dip my toes in the water, to get right in, to allow all of that old stuff that conditioned me to sweep away. And so I'm clearer and more open, and I can remember myself. I can know myself. So when we use the word remember, it's actually membering. It's bringing the self back into the physical body, into the physical plane. Here comes my spirit self. Here comes my powerful self, my um, my realization self that is connected to everything. And here comes my voice and my opportunity to say things and not be shut down or closed down or or pushed to the side, because we're all in this river and the water is pushing us forward. It's helping us, it's giving us momentum to be very focused on the thing that is important enough to us that we will express ourselves through it. So we will not give up our voices and give up our truth to express someone else's pain, someone else's. We will speak for the pain inside of us, for the love that wants to come through us and be expressed through us. And that's what this is all about. Such a powerful, powerful time to truly let go of being on the edge and let yourself be swept into who you are, to reclaim the self or claim the self. You know, as I said, remembering is when we say membering, we're bringing it all into spaces it hasn't occupied. And it helps us to let go of being part of a society or a group that refuses to answer our questions. We we must be curious. We must ask questions. We must demand answers from people. And when they try to brush us off or they try to shame us because we dare ask questions, that's an indicator that they're trying to control us. Because if somebody isn't trying to control us, why aren't they answering us? Maybe it's because we're shouting and they can't hear us, but if we're speaking in a normal voice, if we're in pain and they're not listening, if they're telling us things that make no sense to how we feel, it's not landing right, we must get up and ask those questions or ask them from where we're lying down, but we cannot take someone else's word for what is happening in the world. This is the great wash that frees us from the collective entrapment of being unable to move forward, unable to express, unable to truly say what's on our mind or figure out that, yes, I don't know all the answers, but I'm willing to put my energy into something I care about. And because I care about it, I'm willing to listen to the people who know more than I do. And I will never tell anyone else that their experience, their lived experience, is not true. So, someone else's lived experience is true. My experience is true. Your experience is true, regardless of whether it makes sense, regardless of whether other people saw it and experienced it. That's the place to begin. Our lived experience, my lived experience is valuable to me. It's true to me. It's not where I want to stay. It's my starting point. It's not my ending point. It's the thing that helps me leap forward if I'm willing to accept and love that my lived experience brought me here for a reason. And this jumping off board is a place I can go to. All right, going to end now. I'm going to pull a card from the Akashic Love Field, and oh, I love it. This card 33. This was the final card created in this deck. No, that's not true. It was 34 was the final card. But I love this card because it speaks of this acceptance of self, right? The soul portal, 33, the double three, what they call the Christ conscious number, or the consciousness of our spirit in the body, in our spine. 33 is the number of vertebra in our spine. It's helping us to stand up straight, look at the world and wonder all the opportunities. The world is full of things, right? We can juggle all these balls, but we've got to choose the one, the thing that allows us to follow the track to freedom, to the place we are longing to experience and express through. And even this is the river, right? The river running through it, the very intensity of being freed, freed as we swim, as we learn about ourselves, about the things we've hidden in shame, the shame that's been hidden from us, the lies that people have told us to make themselves look like they were perfect. All of this coming in to be washed in the river, all of us having an opportunity to remember ourselves, hold ourselves anew, connect to the inner spirit, the inner self, the the beauty, the love, the spine of this journey, and to truly go in deep. That's the message of this 33 card. And for those of you listening on the podcast, I will put a picture so you can see what it looks like. And you can find me on Substack, Jen Duchene, not jenduchene.com. That's my website. Substack, Jen Duchene, the Akashic Love Field. And I'll see you next time.